6. Five by 5. Drei Gläser.
2. 1.
That's no moon.
What's up, everybody? We are live. It is episode 27 of the Hardcore Casual Podcast. He is Jay of F1 Podcast fame. I am Mason of Radio Infamy, and we are the conversation at the table behind you. Yes, 27, as we said before the show started, the most dangerous number in rock and roll. So, yeah, if you are wondering why, you can look that up. It's a curse. It's many rock and roll stars have died at the age of 27. So hopefully we make it beyond 27 episodes.
How very weird.
It has been a hectic week, and it has been a hectic day, and I know that Jay is just coming in under the wire, so but we made it. We made it work. So we're here, and yeah, we're gonna go and have a good time. We got quite a few, well, not quite a few, but we got some interesting topics. It's a bit light on news, but I think we've got some stuff that we can have some fun with. And I don't know.
What always even shocks us. It shocks us sometimes when we have like a 2-second snippet that turns into 35 minutes. Man.
Oh, yeah. It's always the ones that we think we'll be like, oh, let me just throw this in real quick. And then that becomes like a 30-minute, telethon thing that we do here. Also, really great decision making on my part here. I didn't even realize this until a little bit before the show started. I'd been hearing some stuff about this thing, and I'd kind of like just didn't think much of it. I guess I didn't realize the sheer scope of what this was. But Mr. Beast is doing a huge live stream that will go until he raises $5 million for Team Water, a charity to build wells and stuff. So that's going on right now. It started like about an hour before we started. So yeah, I imagine
the dude's a beast, man.
Yeah. So we may not get any. We'll see. Obviously, we don't get a ton live. We always have our a few dedicated people, especially like System, who's usually like the OGest of OGs. And but we'll see. So we are competing against Mr. Beast.
Missed him last week because I know we were a day early. And he's probably like, "What the f, dude?" On Thursday. So anyway,
but speaking of which, speaking of System, this is one of the reasons that I brought it up to you as well earlier this week, and he's always promoting us. And like I said, I really appreciate System and the being there and supporting us. But one of the things that he did was he went back and he liked a bunch of our previous TikToks and also reposted them. And so I was like, man, I forgot that we even did this. I was like looking back at what we looked like just 2 months ago on the show. And I know that we've gotten better. It's hard to see the progress as we go. And obviously we've got a long way to still go. But I was like, oh, look at that. I think I remember that. And I clicked it and I couldn't watch it, Jay. I could not watch it. It made me cringe. I cringed. It was like a full body cringe. I could not watch myself.
I got to tell you, man, when we first started the Fuel Pod, we were in a similar predicament, probably worse, because it was our first attempt at anything. And we literally decided this in like one work day that we were going to do this. And literally the very next day after work, we did our first episode.
Gave yourself no time to talk yourself out of it.
Right. I am just now, and that was 2.5 years ago. And I am just now getting to the point where I can watch my own videos. Like I still like even the new ones. I'm like, I kind of wish I'd have went a different direction with that. Or, I wish I hadn't said that, but I've heard that's common amongst a lot of people that do in front of camera work, that they don't like watching themselves. You hear a lot of actors all the time say, yeah, I've never seen the movie that they're in, or the fact that a lot of these movies are filmed out of chronological order. So they
Oh,
don't
yeah,
even
yeah.
kind of know what's going to happen, because they have to either somebody has to have long hair at the beginning and short at the end. So they film them in different times. And
Plus, now so much of it is done in front of a green screen, and you feel ridiculous, I'm sure, doing all this like really emotional, crying
yeah,
or yelling or what, and you're doing it to an empty room that's just painted green. Like there's nothing to really help you out.
yeah. I heard Elijah Wood the other day at some kind of con talking about, he's like, I just went back and rewatched it for the first time.
Lord of the
And
Rings?
yes. So hold
Wow.
on, hold your beer. So he's like, and I'm thinking back now, and I'm thinking, man, I had such a terrible aversion to wigs. Like they kept saying you have to wear a wig, and he's like, I won't do it. I'll just grow my hair out. I'll just grow my hair out. And Dominic Monaghan's sitting beside him, and he's like, yeah, man, you were dying on that hill about not wanting to wear a wig, and he's get it. And of course, now Elijah Wood has like almost no hair, and he's like, I absolutely don't have a problem wearing a wig. He's like, but man, I was young, and I was going to die on that hill. So it is cool to hear these guys talk about, and of course, they're way more famous than we are, but to hear these guys talk about, having a hard time watching themselves, or like you just said, if they're acting, imagine doing a big, like, call to arms, Braveheart style speech in front of a green screen when you're supposed to have 30,000 troops standing there. That would be difficult.
That was one of the funny things that I saw whenever obviously the movie wasn't awesome. It was just, it was mid at best. And that was the new Captain America movie with Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
But in one of the interviews, they were talking to Harrison Ford, and the interviewer was like, do you just feel crazy? Like, do you feel like a bit ridiculous sometimes doing all this, like you're acting so crazy and roar and all that just around nothing? And he did his whole thing where he's like, that's what the money's for.
Oh.
that was
he ain't
his,
wrong.
yeah, that was his. And the guy's like, so, and then it's just all, he's like, poof, gone. Yep, that's it. Like, yeah, like, there you go, Harrison. That's right. That's what the money's for.
And look at that. We literally just did what we said we were going to do. We took a 2-minute snippet and turned it into 8 minutes. There you go.
Yep. Well, I am going to do a little inside baseball reveal for you guys here, and we're going to lead that into our lead story. And our lead story is going to be GTA. To go ahead and get that out of the way, and I'll tell you, here's the inside baseball bit. So the algorithm on YouTube is a beast. It's gnarly.
Apparently.
And it's crazy. And every time I upload a video, I watch it like a hawk, and I try to see where it's performing, where it's not. And what always kills us on these uploads, sometimes we get a second chance and it'll push us on browse, which is basically where we would show up on somebody's home screen when they're scrolling. And we usually get great views that way, if we can make it to that. But what YouTube very often does is it throws us into suggested. Now, you would think that this would be a good thing. You would think that this would be in our favor, to show us after somebody's already watched a video, because the idea behind this is that they show you after a video similar to what you're covering, whether it's the same subject or same vibe or whatever. But we always die whenever YouTube puts us in suggested. And for some reason, it constantly puts us into suggested first, and then we just don't get any views. And it's because suggested is putting us against garbage. Like, it's putting us behind completely unrelated videos. And I can't even see where we're recommended or where we're suggested if somebody doesn't click us. I can only see the suggestions that people did click on us after they watched what they were watching, and I can see what was watched before us. And it is wild. A lot of it's some foreign language stuff that is, just looking at the thumbnail is not related to us. And I don't know what the titles are because I can't read that, but I'm not bilingual. Jay's not bilingual. So I don't know why it's throwing us up there in those, but we get thrown behind a lot of Japanese stuff for some reason. One of the ones that sticks out in my mind was we were thrown behind a video called "Am I a Furry?" So completely unrelated to what we do here. I will also say to that person that viewed us after being recommended after watching Am I a Furry? No, you are not. I'll just throw that out there. No one is. And So we're going to do another GTA thing to hopefully try to like let the algorithm know kind of what we're doing so that we can ease up on the suggesteds that we're getting, if we can get some better suggestions. But anyway, but it's a good opportunity to do this. And we're going to do a little bit of cleanup on some GTA rumors that have gotten some clarification. We're going to give some more context, and we are going to talk about some or address some spicier comments that Jay has begged for spicier comments whenever we do some of these responses. So we will do a couple of spicier comments. All right. So obviously, GTA 6 is the biggest release in modern memory whenever it comes to video game releases. The only thing that could even rival that is if Half-Life 3 was announced, which obviously it has not been. This is crazy hype. So everything's getting a little bit crazy. The leaks are insane and the rumors are wild. And we brought rumors to you last week and talked about those and what we thought about those. And so we're actually getting some clarification on rumors that we previously discussed. And first of all, we have this. So this was reported by GameSpot. And I mean, it's probably everywhere else too, but GTA 6 boss talks possibility of another delay and teases multiple other Rockstar games. So basically, Strauss Zelnick of Take-Two, which I've mistakenly been calling 2K. I think I've said that a few times, but Take-Two. Strauss Zelnick of Take-Two has come out and basically said that he is very confident that the game will in fact release in May. As you know, one of the rumors that we talked about was rumored that it was being discussed as a possibility to delay it until September. But Strauss Zelnick said, while speaking to CNBC, whenever they asked him about his level of conviction regarding GTA 6's launch date of May 26th, he said, "My level of conviction is very, very high, obviously." He then went on to obviously talk about how great the game is going to be. And he talked about how Rockstar is obviously always trying to make an incredible game and exceed everyone's expectations. And I have no doubt that they're going to do just that. But there we go. So Strauss Zelnick says he is confident. There you go.
I just wanted to say that really looks like Mr. Miyagi standing beside that truck. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, he looks much less so whenever you see him closer up. But I was waxing on and you waxed me off.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Wow, that did not sound good at all.
As I said it, I was like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
This is one where
like
Scooby don't have a ton of live viewers because that would have gotten clipped. But so there we go. We had discussed the possibility of it being delayed. Strauss Zelnick says he's very confident that it will not be. One of the things that we did throw out there is like, hey, we could also potentially see maybe that the online component not being released until September. That doesn't sound outlandish. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't want to throw you off or wax you off.
No, you're good.
So I just want to say that this is my hot take, man, and I'm gonna, like I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna die on this hill. I absolutely think this game was gonna be delayed.
See, I didn't know if you were gonna double down on that or not.
I'm thinking Christmas or even into 2027. So that's my call.
So you think that it will still be delayed? That your money is still on delay?
Absolutely, man.
Okay. Well, there we go.
I always love it when a top boss says it's not going to be delayed. That almost guarantees it will be. Unless it's Todd Howard, who still thinks he's an entry-level coder for Bethesda, which that's one thing I've always loved about him, man. But and Randy. I'm going to be the one to bring up Pittsburgh.
There you go.
But both of those guys, yes, they are the head dudes at their place, but they both still act like entry-level coders and programmers for games, man. And I love that. I mean, that's conviction.
All I'm saying is that Randy Pitchford is our anchor bean, okay?
Okay.
By the way, I emailed Randy directly to passed out. I bypassed the multiple requests to his team and emailed him directly. I received the same response, which was no response.
It was probably like, step off, star.
Yeah, we're probably on a blacklist for.
Yeah,
for
we're on a
future.
watch list.
Even we love you, Randy. We love you.
We're gonna get swatted mid episode one night. Watch it happen.
The other rumor that I wanted to talk about was, or I guess this isn't the rumor. This was just some context to one of the things that we talked about, and I guess it not so much rumor as it was speculation. So the UFC, and trust me, this is going to tie in. The UFC just signed a new deal with Paramount. So Paramount Plus is going to be their new home in 2026. Previously, they've been with ESPN for the last, I don't even know how many years, right? Where you have to basically be a subscriber to ESPN Plus. And then once you're a subscriber, then you get the privilege of paying them $80 more to watch the pay-per-view. So you have to buy the subscription and then buy the pay-per-view every month. And now they're going to Paramount Plus, and pay-per-view is not going to be a thing anymore for the next 7 years. So that Paramount Plus deal was for $7.7 billion, and again, 7 years. So $1.1 billion every year for 7 years. This is doubling their profitability. And that is the UFC, one of the largest sports organizations in the world. And obviously some of the deepest pockets in the world as well. So $7.7 billion over 7 years, doubling their revenue. And I say all of that to add some context here about GTA. And that is, as we discussed, that same 7.7 billion number, that is what GTA 6 is expected to clear within the first 30 to 60 days of its launch. 30 to 60 days. This is the amount of money that is keeping the UFC completely operational. The UFC for 7 years. Anything to add to that?
I don't know what you can add to that. I mean, first off, the price is astronomical. Second, if you're looking at it, you got to look at this from a bunch of different angles. From the fan base, they're probably going to love this.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I'm stoked.
I don't know how much those pay-per-views cost now.
$80.
So yeah, and most, then of course you got your crowd that got used to pirating the pay-per-view. Now they're not going to need to, it's going to shut that down. So I think in the long run, they're going to end up making more money, obviously.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
But if you're talking about value added, not only do you get the pay-per-view, you get all the other stuff that comes along with Paramount Plus, which is turning out to be a very good docket, except for the fact that you have to pay. There's Paramount Plus, and then there's Paramount Plus Plus.
That gets you like stars and all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, or the no ads. So I've had to get used to the ads again, which is, beyond awful because I just refuse to pay the extra, whatever it is, $12 on top of what I'm paying. But, so that part is good. I like that part of it. And they also might want to think about a package for just UFC people where they can just sign up for it and it should be an inflated price where they just get it for the like a week for the pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah. Where they would but it's like at that point, just have it.
I know, but DirecTV used to do the same thing for NFL Sunday Ticket. There was a lot of people that only had DirecTV during Sunday Ticket. You know what I mean? So, and now that's NFL's gone crazy too, by the way. And I know we don't talk about that on this show usually, but it also has a new where you can basically watch everything again with all your streaming services.
Yeah, so it is a great deal, but just the sheer scale of that, the fact that you have this massive organization and that GTA will make more money than that within 30 to 60 days. That's insane numbers. Yeah. Okay. So now, and again, you feel free to. I feel like you're now hesitant after whacking me off. You can jump in anytime you want.
Well, so GTA is a weird beast for me. I'm obviously going to play it, Mason. I give hell to my guys at work because all they play. I'm like, I don't even know why you guys bought consoles. You literally only play one game. They're still playing GTA 5 like it came out yesterday. And so that's all you hear at work amongst my Gen Z crowd. But this is whether this thing launches on time. I don't think I'm going to actually agree with our spicy comment guy that you shared with me, which I'm sure you're going to share.
We're about to get to that. I was going to be like, you can
okay.
Let's run off some of that energy for you.
There's a lot of that he nailed, I think, even though he was again spicy about it. We'll see it, but and you've said it a million times, and for the life of me, I would love to disagree with you on it, but you're absolutely right. People are going to buy it. They're not going to give a shit. It's going to shut down workplaces.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%. There's going to be some shorthanded businesses nationwide. Probably.
And what'll make
even
me
more than
laugh?
that.
What'll make me laugh is all the entry level people calling in sick, and all the upper management just not coming in because they can get away with that for the very same reasons, and then come back to work and bitch at the entry level guys for calling in sick. That's what's going to be funny.
It'll happen.
Yeah, it's absolutely going to happen. So I'm anxious to see. It's almost like you just want to pop a bag of corn and find a comfy chair. If you could just be an audience for the launch of GTA 6.
I'm sure there will be news stories. There will be news
there should
stories.
be like an open YouTube event where you got a bunch of people in a war room just tracking GTA 6 stats on opening day, because I almost rather watch that than actually play it. But anyway.
Well, and we'll actually
that's my 4 cents.
We'll actually talk about news here in a segment with our other comment, one of our other comments. All right, so this is the comment that we'll start off with. This is one of the spicier ones. So this was in regard to, this was a comment left on the video where we talked about how the blowback that Randy Pitchford suffered basically helped win us a $80 free holiday season where nothing, EA said we're not going until 2026 at least. Xbox said, hey, we're actually reverting back. We're not going to raise any of the prices starting this holiday, like we said. We're going to wait until at least next year. So all that started getting pushed back and rolled back, and it was because of Randy blowback and other stuff. And then I also mentioned that GTA 6, if they held the line at $70, which not only did you and I, we've said repeatedly for months, that's what they should do, but there's also the rumor that we covered that that's exactly what they would do, is stick at 70. That that we wouldn't see prices go up to 80 for third-party releases until 2027, potentially. So this was in response to that, and this is one of those where it's like I usually try to respond to every comment, and I take pride in that. But sometimes it gets exhausting to reply to a comment with a summarized version of the video they're commenting on when they could just watch the video that they're actually commenting under. This is I was like, okay, we can address this guy here, or he can finish watching the the video. So he says, sorry, but this thesis and argument are pretty insignificant. So this is one where he might have seen the thesis in the title, but he did not listen to the argument, because this is the argument that we made. So he says, sorry, but this thesis and argument are pretty insignificant. Of course, they got shitstormed by disclosing that they are thinking at pricing games at $80. Of course, consumers are pissed, but they will buy it anyhow. See the Switch 2 price tag. It's stupid expensive, yet it outsold Switch 1 in the same time frame. Customer complaints. Sorry, I've got to do a little bit of spell checking here for him, but I'm sure he means complaints. Customer complaints are on price are useless. Real world results are what counts. In my humble opinion, GTA 6 will exceed $100. So I guess really quick, just a couple of things to touch on there is the entire video. That's what we were saying, is that they are responding to real world results. That's why they're pulling back. Not only do we have the blowback from Randy Pitchford, but we also have pre-order numbers before they went back on Outer Worlds. Like, we don't get to see those, but they do. They get to see those. And
well, not to mention, you had a whole company say that they're absolutely not raising their price to $80. EA.
Yeah. Well, they said that they were not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was all in response to real world results. So it wasn't just customer complaints. They were seeing a lot of data, and so they are basing this hold on real world data. data. I'll say it both ways. In my humble opinion, GTA 6 will exceed $100. That's one where it's like, that's just not happening. It's not happening.
Yeah.
There's not been an instance of a console game releasing a base edition that is that far outside of the norm in any time ever. It just does not happen. There's zero chance of that happening.
And I gotta say, it looks like he typed this really fast. Maybe he didn't have enough time. Maybe he was rushed. Maybe he was, to use his word, because I love that word. I'd use it all the time. Maybe he was stupid busy. Okay. But maybe he meant that most people that buy it are not going to buy the base version. And so $100, maybe he's saying they're going to sell more of the $100+ versions than they are the standard version. Who knows?
I think he was disagreeing with everything. But if that's the case, I still don't think that will be the situation. That's another topic that we've actually talked about before, about how even people like you and I, where it's, hey, if it's a game that we like, we're gonna buy like a better edition. But that's not most people. The vast majority of any game, it's always going to be the base. And also consoles are always expensive. That's the Switch 2 was more expensive. It was far more capable than the Switch 1. Were people excited about how expensive it was? No. But the price of the console and the price of the games is separated as far as the way that it's sort of handled. Like, we can have different price tags. Like, even the Switch, it released at a lower price than the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5, but the games were just at the same price. Like the consoles, it's always a whole thing of how expensive it's going to be. We always know it's going to be around $500, sometimes higher, sometimes lower, but they are disconnected. But there we go. That's my quick response. Anything else you want to add to that, Jay, since you got your one of the spicier comments that we've had on the show?
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with a lot of the things this guy's saying. I think he took us out of context on what we were talking about. And I agree with you that, and I did when we were talking about it, that I felt like, Randy Pitchford, and God, I brought him up again. I did it again. This is your fault. He became the test balloon. And I'm sure everybody watching they're like, probably a lot of people in other companies at that level that Randy's at were like, let's just wait for Randy and see what he says, because he's going to blow Twitter up. He always does. And then when he did, they're like, oh shit, he is getting burnt at the stake.
Well, then it was like he said the thing, then he apologized, then the apology got flamed, and it was like the same. I think everybody was like, whoa. It was like, nope, do not want.
I mean, it started to feel like the Salem witch trials there for a while, but so I think, and as a company or as a CEO or an executive, you're dumb not to look at what's happening around you with a similar product. Because that's being self-aware of the market and where it's going and what it's doing. And so, I think you're not going to not have people that get triggered on both sides of this argument.
Oh yeah.
And he's one thing he's definitely right about. The $80 thing will be here and people will pay it. They'll be pissed, but they will pay it.
But
if it's something they really want.
But it's gonna be longer than it was gonna be this holiday, and that's been pushed back. And again, I think they are responding to real marketplace conditions, especially because Xbox even said that the reason that they were backing down on the price was the same reason they claimed to mark it up, market conditions. So they said oh, we're marking it up because of market conditions, and they're like, oh, we're lowering that back down because of market conditions. So will it eventually happen? Yes. It's a matter of how long it can be delayed. But again, if GTA 6 does hold at 70, and I think it will, I believe that you also think that it will. I don't think that anybody if you release after GTA 6 in the year 2026, you are not going to be able to claim that your game is worth $80 if GTA 6 sold their game at 70. You're just not. It's not not a winnable thing. Now, granted, keep in mind, guys, like Jay said, these companies, they're not concerned about you or your pocketbook or how much food is on your table. All they care about is selling the most games and making the most money. So all this is right now they see that they actually would lose money if they marked it up to 80. That right now there's enough, anger and they saw weak pre-sales and stuff like that. I'm assuming that they're like, okay, the amount that we would lose does not make up for, if we would have just, the money that we would have if we just left it where it is. So that's all it is. It's just an equation. It's not because they had, a sudden crisis of conscience or anything like that. They just found that it would be more profitable this way. All right. We are not the news, but we do talk about the news. And one thing that is very important to me is that we never try to mislead anybody. If we're talking rumors or leaks or something like that we can't confirm, we're going to say that. We're never going to try to pass something off as being news when it's not. It's not like we're not going to read something on Reddit and then try to pass it off as this is some well-researched thing that we're now running with. So this is the thing. This next comment is just a bit of a cautionary tale to echo chambers. So this one was from, and I actually, this is the first time I even looked at his username. Name is Trigger Time TV.
What did you expect?
1775.
Wow, man. Good call on pulling that one.
Oh, okay.
Wonder what this
dude's
stick is.
Didn't even read that before. Okay.
Yeah.
So he said in response to the same video, with ID checks, no PC release date, and a 30 frames per second frame rate, I'd be surprised if the game sells well, whether it's $80 or $60. So I basically, my response there is cut off, but that's fine. I basically responded and saying that, well, the ID checks are not confirmed, but that would be just a UK thing, because any of these things, it's all because of this UK law that's passed.
Right.
There's never been a PC release date whenever GTA released. They never talk about when the PC edition will come. The previous version was at 30 frames per second, and it sold great. It's still selling great. It's still in the top 10 for PlayStation right now on the PlayStation 5. So I was like, I don't think that's going to affect it at all. Then this is where the echo chamber bit comes in. So he responded to that and said, it actually came out in the news that ID checks will be in the United States. It has nothing to do with the UK law. Similar to what YouTube is rolling out next week in the US. I don't know about you, but there's zero chance of me uploading my ID to a company that has been reportedly hacked like Rockstar, and I'm not alone in that. Further, GTA 5 was a powerhouse sales success mostly because of little kids who played online who now won't be able to. Further, you have to remember that it's 2025, not 2015. Even console consumers are less accepting of 30 frames per second frame rates, whereas the same people 10 years ago wouldn't even know what a frame rate was. I think that's going to matter quite a bit. I predict it will be like Star Wars Disney sequels, strong initial sales with a big slowdown once word of mouth spreads. This is why I say you should avoid echo chambers.
Yeah.
You want to take a bite out of that one first, Jay?
Oh yeah, man. I think this guy should change his username. I mean, I like Trigger Time TV, but he should change it to @fitted for a tinfoil hat TV if he wants, and still add the 1775. But so console players in 30 frames per second, yeah, they'll hate it, but they'll deal with it because it is what it is. This game's not going to be 30 frames per second.
Well, also
it might dip when you have 30 tanks and oppressor bikes on the screen and everybody's lobbing C4, but it's probably going to be set to run at 60 and probably run near somewhere between 45 and 58. So, I don't see what the problem is. As far as PC players, it'll just be a matter of adding the right stuff to your PC to make it work. And they'll probably see 120 if they want, or even 200. I don't think it's going to be like the Star Wars sequels. And you almost turned me into Trigger Time TV saying that, because yeah, I might be an unk or a boomer or whatever you guys want to call it. And I'm neither of those things, but yeah, the Star Wars sequels, that's not where you want to go with me, at least. I don't know about you, but anyway, I don't think that we're going to see any slowdown. Again, the ID thing is on the other side of the pond, and they might have a problem on that, and that is a small island. And we're talking about the rest of the world.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't think. And one thing he's right about, yes, there was a lot of underage kids playing online. You could hear them if you got stuck in voice lobbies, but
Almost all you can
you know,
hear.
yeah. So it's better just to do your private party and call it a day. But again, I don't think this game's going to slow down for anything.
No, and when I mentioned echo chambers, this is where I was like, so a couple things. I even mentioned like I'm not sure what news sources you're referring to, but there's been zero confirmation from. I put 2K, it should have been Take Two, but there's been no confirmation from Take Two or Rockstar or any credible outlet about any of this. So whenever you say it's in the news, ID checks are going to be in the United States. Maybe it showed up on Reddit that way, but there's been zero confirmation, and there's no way that that would happen. Zero chance they would do that. He mentions YouTube rolling this out in the U.S. That is a completely different thing. What YouTube is doing, is it good? No, I don't think it's a good idea. But the thing with YouTube, it's all about ad dollars. They're just trying to do this thing for ad dollars and trying to make sure that ads are going to the appropriate places and not, and certain stuff isn't going here, so that they can separate all that, so they can tell these, the people that are buying ads and all this stuff. It's all ad dollar stuff. So
Yeah.
has nothing to do with the whole draconian UK thing. It's got nothing to do with any of this other stuff. That's just all about ad dollars. And the argument about, well, it was only a big hit because that was 2015. This is 2025. Again, I'll reiterate, it's still on PlayStation's top 10 sellers lists right now, this week. So even in 2025.
Yeah.
And while, 30 frames per second, obviously it's very important to this guy, but it's not that important to everybody, especially since this isn't like a first person shooter or a racer or a fighting game. A lot of games on console are 30 frames per second, a lot. And so it's not like that's not going to be uncommon, especially there a lot of like RPGs are 30 frames per second. So even if it is 30 frames per second, which they haven't confirmed, I even pointed that out, that they haven't confirmed that it'll be 30 frames per second, but it could be. But it's not going to impact the sales even a little bit, I would wager.
I got to tell you, too, there's a lot of people out there that build these $4,000 powerhouse PCs and then run it at PS2 level graphics so that they can tell their buddy the next day, dude, I got 340 frames per second last night. It's like people are just, that is the be all end all of it. To me, it's not. I
Same.
could care less. But, for a lot of people, man, they will run. I've seen people running modern day racing games and it looked like it came out on the PS1, and they're doing it on purpose so that they can get the frames.
And that's now,
I know.
Obviously, I like a good smooth picture, just like everybody else. I like everything to move really nice, but there comes a point where you're not getting a return back. Like there's a point where you can no longer tell the difference. I don't know what that point is, but I don't know if it's worth some of the extents that these people go to get those.
Yeah, it's mind blowing.
And then the last comment that I have here was just one from TikTok. This one is not spicy, just I think a pretty solid take. And this was Atifius. I'll say Atifius. What do you think?
Atifius. Yeah, I would have said the same. Atifius or Atifius or whatever.
And he says the amount of playtime isn't what makes it good. If the 75 hours are boring slop, it's not worth 75. It's not worth the 75 hours or dollars, maybe.
Fair point.
Anyways, GTA 5 was about 20 hours, and that was a good amount. Actually, it was 32 hours. We discussed that last time. And that was a good amount. I have faith Rockstar can bring thoughtful and engaging story content, but I'm not basing its worth on how long it takes. And 100%, I agree with that. Just because a game is long does not mean that it is any good. But that said, I also believe that Rockstar is going to bring the heat. I think that it will be not just a long campaign. Again, the 75 hours is not confirmed. That was a rumor. But if it is 75 hours, I think that it'll be an incredible 75 hours of the main story. And God only knows how many more hours of really great side content.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, we said this last week, but for us, the main story is the side dish.
Exactly.
You know, that's not the main course. What else can I do?
Yeah,
That's
buy
my
all the
question I'm always
property.
asking. Yeah,
Do
you
all
know,
the sides, join all the cults, all the side
correct.
stuff that they have you doing, hunt Bigfoot, whatever craziness they let us get into, go. I mean, you talked about before, it is set in Florida and they've got the swamplands, and you were talking about Gator Day. Maybe we can have a Gator Day,
Yeah.
something. So we'll see. But yeah, I agree. This is again, quantity versus quality, and I suspect that just like all of their previous releases, we are going to get plenty of both quantity and quality with
Yeah.
GTA 6 when it releases. I have no doubt about that. They are one of the few remaining companies that I don't even hesitate to believe that it's going to be great. We've had some companies that were that way, like CD Projekt Red. They kind of lost a little bit they lost a lot of goodwill that they had with people with their rushed launch of Cyberpunk, but then they built that back up.
Yes.
That's been building back up and everything. So, but Rockstar is one of the few remaining that I have 100% confidence in. So we'll see. There
Yeah,
we
and
go.
I don't disagree with you.
That's what I've got there. And then let's see. That is all the game content that I had lined up. I just wanted to bring those things up for GTA, but I know that you had a much more lively gaming weekend than I did because I had a lot of like family reunion stuff going on. So tell me about your gaming weekend, Jay.
Well, first
Did
it
something
started.
happen? Was there something?
Yeah, it wasn't all good. Once I'm going to say this right now so that I can get this out of the way. Once I did play the Battlefield 6 beta, I absolutely loved it. I enjoyed it. It is a return to form. It is better than anything Activision or whoever else has put out in probably the past 10 years.
Whenever I've posted to our TikToks, that's all I'm seeing is clips from Battlefield 6, and
Yeah.
it made me be like, man, maybe I shouldn't have visited my family.
Our
I should have played Battlefield.
Yeah. Our shared friend Captain Redbeard has played an insane amount of hours of it. So, but my trip to Battlefield 6 land did not start out with hugs and balloons and candy. So obviously, I wanted, having just recently built a pretty decent PC, I wanted to play it on PC, and I downloaded it and I tried to load it up, and it said that I needed to enable secure boot. Well, I'm somewhat technically proficient, so I went into the BIOS to enable that, and it went through fine. And then I went to reboot my machine, and my tower booted up, but I had no display. At that point, I don't even want to get into the amount of steps I did till I realized I had reached the end of my knowledge base and had to take my tower to a shop.
Oh,
Which,
wow.
yeah, so I got to tell you, that in and of itself was an ego shattering event because I had done everything that I humanly knew to get that display back up and running. And so it cost me money. So this beta ended up costing me the price of the game in a repair job.
Do you guys have a local shop?
We do, actually,
Wow.
and they're really good, and they're called Computer Techs right on Main Street. The name is a little on the nose. I really felt like they could have got more creative with that, but there's a couple of good dudes in there. They seem to both be gamers. I looked over in the lobby area.
You can go for creativity, you can go for clarity. They clearly like move the thing all the way to clarity.
I looked over in the lobby area, and they had like 6 issues of Game Informer laying on there. So I was like, okay, these guys are. But it was tough for me to leave my system there that I built from the ground up. And on my way out, I turned around to them. I looked at both of them. I go, "Do not mess up my baby." And they just started laughing. They're like, "We got you."
Like
And it was a couple of days.
daycare for the first time.
Yeah, and that was on a Friday morning, and I ended up not getting it back till Monday afternoon. So I ended up having to download the Battlefield 6 beta on PlayStation 5. And admittedly, man, I was down the whole time, the whole weekend, because I wanted to play it on PC. I really wanted to play it on PC. And I'm going to get to tomorrow night, but I'm out of town this weekend. So the second weekend of the beta is this weekend.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
So
it's Thursday.
yeah, there's
yeah. Don't mind me. I'm just Tripping out
I'll
over
get to
here.
play it tomorrow, but then me and my son are going on a little trip on Saturday and Sunday, and I won't get to play it. But um, I'm really excited for what it has. It's grounded in realism. There's no Nicki Minaj skins or, you know, chrome weapons and pieces of jewelry hanging off of your weapons. And there's 4 distinct weapon classes for the soldiers, and each one of them has a uniform identifier. So when you're in the heat of, you know, a visceral firefight, you can look and see, okay, that guy's a recon soldier, and that guy's an engineer, and that guy, you know. So I love that piece. The vehicles, the building destruction, all done very well. The balance seems very good. But you know, I wanted to show some of these numbers because this was the open beta during the first open beta weekend. And you can see they were hitting almost 500 grand during a 24-hour peak. And then
And
an
again, this is
overall,
exclusively on Steam. This doesn't even factor in
yeah, this is not
PlayStation and
even
all this other
right.
stuff.
Right. So this is part of the community that I wasn't even a part of for that weekend. The funny thing is, if you look at the low mark at the very end on the far right of the screenshot, that's still registered because I hovered my mouse over it when I was on there, and it still registered 2%. So there were still people, at least on the main menu,
They're
hoping
clinging
just
on.
maybe, just maybe they accidentally left the beta open, which I thought was cool. But still, those are encouraging numbers for a beta, especially when you compare it to Call of Duty. So the 521,079 players all-time peak for 2 days versus an all-time peak 2.8 years ago for the last Call of Duty of 491. So, and that's at a full release game. That's not a beta. So really, really, really good numbers. Looking forward to it. Is it going to absolutely kill that community? No, it's not. Call of Duty is, you know, it's what it is, and it's an unstoppable force in a lot of ways.
It will kill some.
Yeah, and it will. And the right now, the sad thing is that most content creators are COD people, and not because they know that's what the algorithm's pulling. So they're begging EA to add a battle pass and increase the amount of shots it takes to get a kill. And that's not Battlefield. That's Call of Duty. Battlefield was meant to where you take a couple shots to the head, you're down, man. That's the way it goes.
Well, then
and
on
so
the
I'm
other side,
worried.
oh, go ahead.
I'm just worried that because they're content creators, they're going to force EA's hand, and EA is going to buckle.
I don't think so. Because they might be vocal, but I think they're a minority. Because you know, there are obviously some of the people that are going to just want to make Battlefield Call of Duty with a different look. You know, Call of Duty on bigger maps. But I think most of the people or maybe not most, but I think there are a lot of the people that currently play Call of Duty are playing Call of Duty because Call of Duty is what is available. You know, there's not really anything else. I think there's a lot of people that are going to come over whenever they do have Battlefield 6, whenever that is out, because they would prefer that. And then I think there's also going to be people that you're going to have people playing both. You're going to have people that are just curious and want something, but kind of like what we've talked about with that we're really looking forward to with the MCU and the DCU is that they now feel very different. You know, they're not both dark and moody or this and that. Like, they're very distinct vibes. They're very distinct feelings. And you can, if you want one, you can go there. If you want the other, you can go there. If you want them both, you can do that too. We basically have the same thing here. I hope that they don't bend the knee to any of those demands. I don't think they will, because I mean, look at those numbers. I think those numbers speak for themselves. And I think they're going to go forward with that. But yeah, I hope that they don't listen there. I think a lot of people are going to pull in Battlefield 6. It'll probably still end up ultimately settling in a second place position, but who knows? They could overtake it.
And I think they will. And like I said, the fact that it's a return to form, and we haven't seen a Battlefield like this since Battlefield 4. 2042 gets a bad rap. It's a good game. It's had a bad launch, but like a lot of games, they've come around. But still, it's that they tried to be this hybrid Call of Duty Battlefield game, and the purists in the Battlefield community are like, man, just give us our Battlefield back. Give us Battlefield 3, which is widely considered one of the best, along with 4. And then of course you have the what are called the historical battlefields, where you Battlefield 1 and 5, which are World War 1 and World War 2 respectively. but still, this is a true return to form.
Yeah, so that 2042 was when they Def Jam iconed their their vendetta.
Yeah, yeah, they did, and that was
Well,
sad. But I really like this. I like the amount of they didn't have to give us a whole lot for this beta, but they did. So really excited about that. The game modes are you got Classic, Conquest, and Rush. And then they got the portal where you can design your own game modes and then open up a server. So, there's a lot of good stuff to be ready for when it comes out in October.
well, I'm looking forward to it, and I believe I was scrunched in the middle seat of a vehicle whenever I received your invite for a party on PlayStation. I was like, oh, man, I wish I could do that, right now. But now I'll have to
Yeah.
be the one playing without you on the weekend. But I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm excited to get in there and give it a try. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, I'll be bundled up and playing that some this weekend, and I will be doing so bundled up.
I knew it
and
was
my-
coming. Jeez, Louise, man. I knew it
My
was coming.
hoodie from comfortclothing.com. Comfort.com/hardcore for 15% off any purchase.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I will be playing this weekend and looking forward to it. Glad that it's going well. Obviously, I know they had like a bit of a rough start with like some long lines to be let in, long queues and all that kind of stuff. But
So when I first logged in on the PlayStation, like it popped up the screen. I was number 201,000 in the queue, and like within a minute it dropped to 100, and then less than 30 seconds I dropped to 80, and then 60,000 in the queue, and it dropped to 42,000 in the queue, and then literally like a split second later I was in the game, and I was like, okay.
see, kids,
So-
patience pays off.
Yes.
Okay, well, we got that. What else do you have on your list? What do you want to hit next before we get to our more entertainment stuff? And then there's one of them that is a hybrid where we have entertainment and game news.
That's true. So I have one more piece of game news because I've been talking. This is my Randy Pitchford, but is of course Deity Vingy's Starfield mod, Star Wars Genesis, which he is about to launch version 8.3. And as you can see here, he's got 1,000 new voice lines for the main story because there's still some voice lines where what's coming out of their mouths is Star Wars, but what you're reading is Starfield. And then there's some of them where what is coming out of their mouths is Starfield, and what you're reading on the screen is Star Wars. So it's kind of weird.
Like watching
And,
an anime where like you never know
Yep.
which one you got to pay
Yeah.
attention to, whether it's the dub or the sub.
Yeah, Danielson, you want to fight kind of thing. So anyway, so yeah, looking forward to adding this piece to the main story. I'm level 68, I think, right now with my current playthrough, and
What's max
pretty
level?
far. I don't know.
Hmm.
I haven't even looked it up. But I'm pretty far in like 3 different main stories. So I'm literally working for the Empire and the Rebels. I haven't had a situation where I've had to screw one over for the other yet, but I know it'll eventually will
It's
happen.
like dating two girls in an RPG where you're
Yes.
just like, I know at
Yes.
some point this is going to blow up.
And then there's the main story, which is the whole Yuzon Vong Sith Empire. Yuzon Vong's been kind of puppet mastering the Sith and that piece. So I'm playing that as well. And then just in general, my class is a bounty hunter, working my way through the bounty hunter guild and trying to be a full-fledged, member of that. And that's, your class, oddly enough, is a separate story in and of itself. Because you don't have to do any of the other things. You can just be a bounty hunter, hunt people down, make them pay somebody they owe money to, bring them in hot, bring them in cold, whatever you want to do. So still really excited. I love the gameplay balance with the leveling and the gunplay right now. I know he's tweaking some things. I saw him do. He's got a new video out where, like I said, he solos taking down an ATST, and it took him about 10 minutes. It looked more like a Monster Hunter fight than a Star Wars fracas, but still very cool, and I love where it's going. So anyway, that was that.
Excellent. I know that you have been a big proponent of Genesis,
Yes.
so glad that it's still going well and continually getting improved upon. And I guess, are we now doing our hybrid subject?
Sure, let's do it.
All right, so let's talk about 007. As you know, that we have both an upcoming game for 007 and we have an upcoming movie. I mean, it's a ways down the road. Obviously,
Yeah.
they are very early building blocks right now. But with Amazon, now that Amazon has acquired the rights for James Bond, so I guess we'll start with your news, Jay, with the voice actor for the game, which we already knew that the Bond in the game was going to be Irish, and I guess
Yes.
we now have an official announcement of the Irish actor that will be playing him.
So, if you are familiar with the TV show Dexter, and more recently, it's returned to television, at least for a short series, they had a role that was filled by this man, Patrick Gibson, which you've probably seen him on stuff before, but he is playing the young version of Dexter, and it was actually leaked by the guy that's playing M's right hand in the game. He's like, yeah, when me and Pat were filming our scene, so he kind of gave it away by accident. And so this is the guy that's going to be voicing James Bond in the game. Also, if you look at the original trailer that was released for the game, it's kind of obvious. It looks like they had already motion capped his face.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was pulling up an image so that we could look
Yeah.
because they clearly, I mean, they it was basically his face. They just gave him some
Yes.
darker hair
Yeah.
and a scar.
So anyway, he is playing Bond in the new game. So we don't have the one for the movie yet, obviously, or who's playing him in the movie, but we do have the game. And I just want to take this opportunity while we are talking about James Bond, and it's one of my favorite franchises of all time. I want to corner you and say, who do you think, not who do you want, who do you think is going to play James Bond in the next movie?
Well, they really are one and the same because I do love his work. I think he's a phenomenal actor. I think that he's really only starting to get to the potential that he has as far as star power goes. And I know that it was rumored that this individual had already been offered and turned down the role of James Bond, but you never know. That could always just be a ploy to try to get more money, and that would be Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yes. I'm in absolute agreement with you, and we've had this discussion before, but I kind of just wanted to corner it and say this is what Hardcore Casual Studios wants or thinks is going to happen. Obviously,
Hardcore Casual endorses Aaron Taylor Johnson for 007.
yes, but obviously, looking back after Daniel Craig's time, I would have wanted Idris Elba, but now he's too old.
Yep, 100% agree.
I think he would have been excellent for that role earlier. I also don't know what this story is. If it's supposed to be another young Bond, I don't know why they don't just get this guy. But so we don't know what the story, what if they're crafting an original narrative for the movie, or if they're using one of Ian Fleming's short stories. So,
well, in relation to that writing, by the way, I mean we have Denis Villeneuve, I guess is how you're supposed to pronounce his name,
yes.
but I love him. Phenomenal director. Obviously, most recently of the Dune movies, but he's a long story director. But I love the Dune movies. Love what he's doing there. But also the writer Stephen Knight, who is the writer of Peaky Blinders, is attached to the film as well.
Wow, did not know that.
Yeah.
That is dude, I love Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. Fantastic work there.
Yes. So
I'm then immediately going to put those flames out here in a bit. But yeah, the fantastic director, fantastic writer. I have no idea what they're up to as far as how they want to take it. And I even wonder, like, obviously all the rumors that you get are young men. So they're not going to go Pierce Brosnan or anything like that. They're not going for a weathered 007. They're going for a younger, but it's a matter of how young. Are we getting a 007 in his 30s? Are we getting to 007 in his early 20s, like what you mentioned, like with the video game where he's not even 007 yet, and he's at the game revolves around him earning the number. I am curious, but all of the names that have been floated have been very young. But one thing about Aaron Taylor Johnson, I mean, you always talk about the it factor, and you hear these about presence, and Aaron Taylor Johnson has it. He just has a presence about him, and then any of the movies that he's in, he just has a really commanding presence. So you can look at Bullet Train or 28 Years Later or even Craven. He just has that thing that you want to see more of him, and he's like got great comedic timing. I think he's very clever. He is phenomenal in interviews, and I think it would also. I'm sure some purists would absolutely detest this, but Aaron Taylor Johnson, one of his kind of signature things is his hair. Aaron Taylor Johnson has longer hair, and that's what he's got in all these roles. He keeps his hair. And I think it would be pretty cool if James Bond, if it was Aaron Taylor Johnson, if they kept his longer hair.
You know what I'm going to ask you, right? Since you are a member of the longer haired community and I am a member of the shorter haired community, and for the record, even though I've lost quite a bit of hair at my age, even when I didn't, I kept it short. So I don't disagree with you, but I feel like James Bond needs to maintain that suave.
I don't see why long hair would interfere with that.
Of course you don't. Kept look about him. I think it needs to, and I don't think Aaron Taylor like his hair in Bullet Train wouldn't bothered me in James Bond, to give you an idea where I'm coming from. It wouldn't. But if you're talking about like, man, I can't even think of somebody right now. Like if Ozzy was James Bond, sorry, maybe too soon, but still, to me, that would be, I would be like, dude, I can't buy it. I mean, you look like the villain.
No, I think he could pull it off. I think it would work out well, but
yeah,
we'll see. I've also seen a lot of unknown actors and supposedly going in for readings and screenings. And there's some that I've, and granted, I'm sure they're all great guys, great actors, fine actors. But there's some, I don't even have the names in front of me, but there's some that, like, a lot of times it's a name I don't recognize. Like, they'll be like, oh, this person, rumored to do a test reading, and I'm like, I've never heard of that guy. And then I'll see a picture of him. I'm like, God, I hope it's not that guy. Like, like nothing against them. It's just like, they just don't look like Bond. They just don't look like somebody that I would be intimidated by or anything like that. So I hope he gets it. But now, do you want the cold water real quick?
Yeah, man, rip the Band-Aid off. I've been waiting now for an hour and 3 minutes and 7 seconds.
Yeah. So we have a new rumor, and we'll see. Hopefully it's not true or can be pushed away and held off. But the rumor, which MovieWeb has an article about it, which is the title of their article is "New James Bond Reboot Rumor Claims Amazon is Determined to Destroy the Iconic Action Franchise." And that is the very neutral headline that they are going with.
Say that one more time, please.
Okay, so they're sarcastic, very, very neutral headline is "New James Bond Reboot Rumor Claims Amazon is Determined to Destroy the Iconic Action Franchise." And the way that the rumor is stating that they are doing that is so, Jay, just for those that may be listening and unaware, do you know who the founder and person who benefited from Amazon is? The person that calls the shots at Amazon?
Do I know who calls the shots?
Yeah, one Mr. Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos, yeah.
Yes. So the rumor is that Jeff Bezos wants his new bride, Lauren Sanchez, to be featured in the movie, and not just a cameo, not a side role. He wants this to be her star vehicle as a Bond girl. Or maybe not a Bond girl, but a girl in a Bond movie in a large role.
He does know that from a canon standpoint, most Bond girls don't make it.
Well, like I said, not necessarily as a Bond girl. He wants her to have a prominent role as a female role in the movie, not necessarily a Bond girl. But the rumor is just stated as this mysterious Hollywood insider that Movie Web is quoting. The quote from their leaker just says, "He's obsessed. This isn't just fantasy casting. Jeff wants her on screen. Period." So
Well, I mean,
let's
what Jeff wants, what Jeff gets, man,
I don't know. I
for the
hope he
most
can be
part.
talked out of that because that would be atrocious. Atrocious. That would be absolutely nothing. Is being an astronaut not enough? Like,
Oh, well,
she's,
let's not go. Come on, man. Let's not go that far to where we're
they
calling them
spent a whole
astronauts.
45 seconds in space. Is this not enough?
There's an argument on whether they even actually made it to space. DeGrasse Tyson, he was like, they didn't go high enough to actually call it space. I felt like Owen Wilson in Armageddon. He's like, dude, we're just in like inner space right now. We haven't even made it to outer space yet. So,
Well, let's hope that Katy Perry does not listen to Neil deGrasse. Something tells me that she's probably not a dedicated listener to Neil deGrasse
yeah,
Tyson.
I'm sure she's not.
But that would be absolutely crippling for her, as she has adopted this as her entire identity now, as the fact that she is an astronaut that has been to space. So
yeah,
thoughts and prayers for Katy Perry in this difficult time.
Yeah, I doubt she's a subscriber to Star Talk. I am.
Yeah, probably did not read any of his books either.
Yeah, Astrophysics for Dummies. Great.
Or
great
no,
book.
it's Astrophysics for People in a Hurry.
Yes. Yeah, which I translated as him being nice and not calling this dummies.
But I do have that one on my bookshelf. Okay, so we got that out. Do you have any other stories that you wanted to touch on?
I do not.
Okay.
Presently.
Well, let's see here. Let me go through my
There's
open
some stuff
tabs.
I'm working on for follow-up episodes, but they're not ready. They're not ready for public consumption yet.
No worries. This may be one of our quickest episodes ever.
It may be.
So, the only thing I have left is again, we said it wasn't a big news heavy week, but we got some fun stuff, and this is one where it's got a lot of people in it that I am excited about. So, Roadhouse, whenever they did the remake, was directed by what was his name, Doug Liman, I believe it was the name of the original director doing Roadhouse. So had Jake Gyllenhaal. Now you and I both love Jake Gyllenhaal, phenomenal actor. He did crazy amounts of preparation for this movie, and the movie was fun. It was a fun, stupid, just big dumb fun movie. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't great. Conor McGregor, as one might suspect, not a great actor, but it was fine. But they are doing a sequel, and I was like, okay, that could be cool. Then they announced that Guy Ritchie was going to be writing and directing the sequel. Then I was like all on board because we love Guy Ritchie here, and I was so stoked. And then Guy Ritchie dropped out, probably because of the fact that he has two series that have now been renewed for a second season: The Gentleman on Netflix and Mobland on Paramount Plus, which is both phenomenal shows, by the way. And so he's going to be a little bit busy. And so we've now got announcements on multiple things. So we now have the director, which was already announced previously before this other thing I'm going to announce, but we have the director. The new director is Ela Noshuler, which is he was the director of Nobody and Heads of State. And then we also have what was just announced is Dave Bautista has been cast in the sequel.
Wow.
Yeah, Dave Bautista. So he is obviously former WWE wrestler, and then after getting the role of Drax the Destroyer in Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of got more into acting, and I think he's actually a really good actor. He's had some movies that weren't great, go figure, but I've also been really impressed by him. I thought his piece in the Blade Runner sequel was one of the most poignant scenes in the entire movie. He's done a lot of really great work. He was in the follow-up in the it was in the Glass Onion movie for follow up to
Yes.
Knives Out. Great actor. But I love Dave Bautista. I'm a professional wrestling fan. I was a fan of his whenever he was wrestling. I'm a fan of his as an actor. So very excited to see him joining the sequel. So hopefully the sequel will actually be better than the original. The original. When I say the original, I mean the Roadhouse 1 that they just released, not the OG with Sam Elliott and everybody in it. I don't think there's any top in that one.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and I like Batista too, and I like his scene was great. It was quiet and it was methodical, but it was great. And there was also a short that they did before the movie released of just like the lead up to that opening scene, which I thought was cool. So
I didn't
yeah,
realize that. I don't think I've seen that short.
Oh, it's on YouTube.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it was really good.
I was not aware of this.
Yes.
Oh, I do have one other thing, which will probably keep
No,
us
I was
for 3 hours.
I was just going to say that Gamescom is going on this week. And it's oddly enough, not just games, sort of like Comic-Con is really nothing to do with comics, but we got a trailer for a Red Sonja movie.
I've actually seen reviews of it that are saying it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, it looks good. The trailer I saw, it was like a big gladiator scene that looked really good. And then there's a game and these are just a couple, just real quick snippets. So there's a game coming out called Neo Berlin that looks really tight. It's a shooter where you're living in a simulation, and it's called Neo Berlin.
This not ringing any bells, Jay. What are you implying?
Right.
It sounds completely original to me.
Your name is Thomas. No, I'm joking. Your name is absolutely not Thomas Anderson. Anyway, might want to check it out. But there's some decent trailers coming out of Gamescom right now. So, folks, if you end up watching this episode, just search Gamescom on YouTube, and we'll probably be bringing up some of the things that come out of this thing, because it seems like they're kind of it's kind of an edgy show this year. Bringing out some stuff people haven't heard of, or that's like just kind of getting stealth dropped. And so there was a couple things I'm putting together for next week from that.
Awesome. Yeah, and I also keep seeing this pop. It doesn't the Snake Eater game, doesn't that come out this month?
Yeah, it comes out on the 26th, if I'm not mistaken.
Awesome. Yeah, well, another little side tangent. So I did look up Celesta 2, which you'd recommended to me, and I am stoked for that. It doesn't have a release date for console yet. It hasn't been announced, but looks great and might help fill the Baldur's Gate 3 void that will be left until Larian, comes out with whatever they're working on, that I'm also very excited for. But yeah, the Celesta 2 looked great. And I wanted to mention something as well that I had mentioned to you. Now, obviously, I don't care about mobile games. It's just not a thing. I've not to be elitist. I mean, obviously, I have the little games and stuff that I'll play to occupy my time or whatever, but I usually don't think it's newsworthy or anything like that. Obviously, like if you're going to release a big game, why do it on mobile? I felt the same way that everybody else did whenever they talked about Diablo coming to mobile. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Didn't want it. But this is one where I'm like, okay, I am intrigued. And I only just started messing around with it. But one of the best RPGs of not just the modern era, but one of the best RPGs ever, I think, is Disco Elysium. If you've ever played Disco Elysium, and it was not a mobile release, it was on PC, and then they made console ports for it. It was a wild game. It had a crazy art style. The story was just crazy. It was just so out there on so many levels, and they did so many interesting things. But it was super fun, and Jay and I have talked about it many times, and all the crazy choices that you can make, and the things that you can find, and the way that you can do things. Anyways, it is a vast, fascinating RPG where you are trying to solve a mystery, and it's super. If that sounds appealing, absolutely check it out. It's amazing. It's fantastic. But I was updating some apps on my phone, and I saw something on the front page of the App Store, and it was that Disco Elysium was released on handheld, or sorry, on mobile. And I was like, well, that's something. I'm curious how that would work. But I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'd like to play it on the go or something like that. So
Yeah.
I downloaded it and I was like, okay, yeah, let's just fire it up a little bit. Let's check it out, you know? And I found out that it was not a simple port. It wasn't just a port from what it had to port it over to mobile. They completely redesigned the game. In the game format as it is on consoles and PC is kind of standard. You know, you have your character, you move them around, you talk to people, whatever, and it's the controls and stuff that you're kind of familiar with the top down sort of RPG. And excuse me. And that's what I was expecting whenever I opened it up on mobile, but it's not. They basically took the the game and they made it. They took this top down RPG game and they turned it into a point and click RPG game. So the same style that they use for the images in the game and the general sort of look and feel of the game, they have that in there. But like the first scene in the game, so it's not spoiler, it's the very first scene of the game, is you are waking up in a hotel room with no recollection of not just how you got there or what you did the night before. You don't even know who you are anymore. And you have to walk around the room and find your clothes. You got to find your jacket, your tie, your pants, your shoes, all that stuff. And so that scene is there, but it's point and click. So you can scroll, put your finger on it, move over and click this here, and then you move from scene to scene. So they have converted it into this point and click adventure that still has all of the same choices and stuff and options whenever you're going through dialogue. So I haven't gone through. I don't know like if there's any sort of like if there's any like side quests or things like that didn't make it. It can be a very long game. So I just started playing it. But if it sounds at all interesting to you, the first 4 chapters, which is another thing, they've broken it into chapters, which is not the way that it works on consoles or PC. But if any of that sounds interesting to you, the first 4 chapters are free. So you can go in, you can download it, you can play it. And if you are like, hey, you know what? This is something I'm interested in, then you can buy the full game. But I don't know. I just thought that was a surprise. And then I was just impressed that they just completely repurposed the game and gave it a completely new play type. So they just moved it over to a point and click.
And to me, that's interesting because I don't do mobile. Like I'm not a big handheld person. I just something about them. I don't enjoy it. I'd rather just go do something else if my choice is handheld. But if it's point and click, like I used to play some idols on mobile anytime I'd have big dead spaces where I could just an idle clicker. But like if it's story based where I'm clicking from screen to screen, absolutely, yeah, I would try that out.
Yeah, and again, the RPG was phenomenal, and I was going to pull it up, but oh well, we don't have to worry about that. So yeah, there we go. But yeah, I just want to throw that out there. I thought that was cool. So yeah, I've got nothing else, man.
I have nothing either, man.
All right,
I cannot believe it.
I
Shortest
know.
episode ever.
We made it. Well, we've both been having some pretty crazy weeks, so
yes,
we'll have more coming up. But hopefully we had some stuff there that was worth discussing and listening to. And thank you guys so much for swinging by or for watching this later. If you're listening to us on Roku or wherever you happen to find us, appreciate it. And we will talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you all very much. Have a good night.